Oh, all right, guys. So I'm partway through product here, and I wanted to touch base on one thing that I thought was pretty interesting. So this is the, and I'm going to butcher this word. It's from IKEA. It's the SJALLAND set. And I've had this for 3 years now. It's been out in the weather, and the wood has started to warp a little bit, and it's also, as you can see there, it's gotten a little bit mildewy, grimy, whatever it is throughout the weather. We've tried to protect it through the winter, but still gets an occasional rain on it or so. But as you can see here, as I'm just bought this recently, I'm doing a product review on this independently of this, and you can see here that I've turned this from this. Sorry about the noise. As you can see here, the difference here. And I'll actually throw a picture up there real quick, like right now. So actually, I just wanted to cut short here for a second and show you how easy it is. So instead of having to purchase another set of these wooden tables, you can buy these independently, or you can add aluminum in here to kind of make it a little more long lasting, but we like the wood feature. There's two things we're going to do with this. Number one, we're going to refreshen this wood and then restain it so that it will last a couple more years. And two, what we're going to do is stain it the same color as our deck so it actually matches. So we're going to go ahead and get these all sanded down, and I'll do a couple quickies on the, quick video shots on these, some speed up time lapses or whatnot, showing me working on these, and then we'll see the end product after we stain it. All right, cool.
So as you can see here, the sanding takes a little bit of effort because we're sanding through all that protective layer that was on top of this, and you can see all the dust that's being derived from the sanding. And the more you sand this, the more this wood here actually turns more of a red color.
So I wanted to touch on something. I thought maybe in some cases, if you're the one who assembled this, then you know how to disassemble it. But if you weren't the one who assembled it and you had it assembled and you want to go ahead and tackle this project yourself, this portion of the table is held in by 4 screws, and they are strategically placed around the outside of the table. There's another set of 4 holding this other surface. And one thing I learned, I'll show a picture here real quick, that basically it's hard to sand these with an orbital sander with them still in their aluminum frames, right? I'm talking about the chairs, I'm talking about the tables. The problem is it's rounded. You got to get to the edges. If you can't get to the edges, you didn't sand it fully, right? So nonetheless, there's some disassembly required to do this project, but once you do, I'm telling you, I'm hoping this is going to come out beautiful. Cool.
Now, once you watch me sand a little bit here, the cost of this project was not too bad. It was $40 for that sander that you see right there, $10 for a couple extra pads to sand with, and then $4 or $5 for the stain that I already had. The tools I needed basically were an Allen wrench to release the bolts on the chair, and a screwdriver to take out some of the screws, and this project really only took the weekend to do. This is not a bad project to do. Most of the work is what you see here, sanding.
Yo, hey, check this out. 10 minutes to do. It took me 10 minutes, to sand this down with this Ryobi. Just got this thing today. I love it. It's working great for me. This would take me all day to sand both of these down. So smooth. I mean, just smooth of a job that it's done. Look how well it's sanded. It is buttery smooth, as they might say. This is wonderful. We're about to stain it.
So as you can see here, you can see that we are staining the other panel while I was working on the other one and sanding it down. And you can see here that it is looking like it's matching my deck. It is really nice how this is going on. And as you can see, we pan over and we take a look at the other panel that I'm sanding on now. Now, by far, the easiest part of the project was this table. Large chunks, sanded it down, got it smooth, started to stain it, and just assembled it back to the table one piece at a time. And as you can see here, it looks really good. Now you can see it contrasting against the chairs. The chairs, on another note, are a completely different story. There's a lot more detail in these chairs, and having to work them, having to take them apart, and having them reassembled. I'll show you that here right now. So here I'm taking an Allen wrench and I'm loosening up the upper portion of the wood, the backrest there, pulling that out so I can get to sanding on that, putting the bolts back in so I don't lose them, flipping it over the chair, putting in single pieces of tape so I can identify each board. Right there, you're looking at my butt, sorry. But then I'm starting to remove the screws from one side, and then you'll see over here in a second when I get on the other side, and I'm removing each individual panel piece. So after I removed all the wood from the chair, I began to sand, as you can see here. I started with the back. Easier to sand in those metal plates that are holding those 4 or 5 boards together. Those will be hidden inside the chair rails, so I don't have a concern of sanding any of that metal. And then we go on to the individual boards themselves, and in the end we end up having a very clean set of wood that we can stain on. Went pretty well, but took a lot of sanding. So after we sanded, you can see here in a short video of the before and after. So much better in the sanding job. The wood looks so much cleaner, and it's ready for staining. But in this process, we're not going to show you the staining. We're just going to show you putting the wood slats back into the chair. I did make sure that I had my driver at its lowest setting, and I went as slow as possible to ensure that I wouldn't strip the screws into the wood, because they're just screwing directly into the wood. And here, after putting the chair together on the bottom slats where you sit at, we put the back on, put those in pretty quickly, tighten the bolts in there, put the caps on, all is done. Kind of. Actually, to do the other chairs, you can see here, I'm slowing it down to show you that you have to make sure that you put the caps in properly. Once you get the caps in and you slide the back down, then you just go back to putting the bolts in and tightening them up and putting them into the chair. After that's all said and done, all 4 chairs are done. They look beautiful. Next day, I just basically put them on the deck, and I was all done. I'll show you the pictures here right now.
All right, guys, how's it going? So here's the finished product of the SJALLAND, whatever it is, IKEA, whatever that name is, outdoor table set. I have, and you probably can't see it very well, but if you look between here and here, I've actually sanded this down and restained it with the actual same color as my deck. So really cool is this furniture now matches my deck, right? And it didn't take a whole lot of work. To be honest, all I had to do was go and buy a $30-something sander, and that did most of the work of smoothing this out, getting rid of all that roughness that was originally on there, cleaned it up. I purchased a stain probably for a few bucks. I used it for something else, so I had it on hand, and it was stained and done. So I would say that this is probably a relatively easy task you can do. So instead, we decided to go ahead and sand this down and match it to our deck. And I think it came out beautifully. It works great. And then all we have to do is continue to sand a little bit, stain it again. So this is my version of a DIY project of changing the color and also refreshening the wood on the SJALLAND outdoor furniture dining set, as you might call it. I love what it's done, and it looks beautiful. Yeah, I wouldn't change anything on this. I think it was a great project. I'm out.